Hey everybody, it's City the Wind Sage, and welcome to I haven't really come up with a name for these things, but I think the best way to call it is the, post Let's Play, retrospect, or just kind of ramblings. Basically, now that Demon Roots is over, and this is something I want to start doing for all of my projects going forward. Now that the game's over, it's been some time, and the Let's Play itself is winding to an end. Part 43 comes out today, I think. I just wanted to take the chance to, and do this with all going forward projects, kind of just reflect and look back on the project in question, kind of what I liked, maybe like what I liked about the game, maybe what I didn't like about the game. Just kind of talk about things in general about the game we played, maybe some of my thoughts going into it and out of it, and yeah. So we're mostly just going to be doing that. There's not really going to be any visuals, and I haven't fully decided if this is going to have background music. I'm probably going to put something in the background, since pure silence and just my commentary might drive people mad, but feel free to just listen to this in the background as you do your sort of other tasks. And just, yeah, I'm just going to be rambling for a bit. It's going to be kind of off script. I have like a relatively sort of, I have like somewhat of a format that I'm going to do with this. So I'm generally going to talk about the non-spoiler stuff, then dive full into spoilers when it comes to the games and all that. And then for this specific Let's Play, I'm going to have a third thing at the end, but I'm going to not say what it is for the time being. Also, to kind of keep pace for these things, not only is this little rambling going to be done in parts, that I'm going to try to cut together. I'm going to have something on the top that says like what part of the thing we're at, whether it's like general discussion and then spoilers, and then in the case of this, let's play the third thing. And I haven't tried doing it yet, but I'm going to try and put timestamps, so you can just like skip to whatever part you want to do, like the little chapter section. So yeah, this is just this is just gonna be what it's gonna be. And again, it's not like too overly professional. It's just gonna be rambling. I originally planned to get some friends together and do a podcast style thing, but like the more I kept thinking about it, the more I realized like this is just a project I did on my own, and I kind of wanted to have my own thoughts put in. Originally, I wanted to do friends to like kind of go back and forth and just have like dialogue and banter. But I think it's more better, especially for this first Let's Play after being away for so many years, to just kind of do it on my own, just kind of ramble. I have no idea what the video is going to look like by the end of this, but I just hope it's something interesting for you all. Alright, with all the preamble out of the way, let's get to it. So, what is my general thoughts on the game? Well, I mean, I've said it all throughout the game. I've loved this game. 2 bits. It's probably one of my favorite games of all time as of now. I can definitely see it being in like my top 10 for favorite games. In terms of like RPGs, it's probably even in like my top 5. The story's great. I dare even say the story's perfect, which, just so you know, just something I talk about. A story being perfect is, usually a positive thing, but something being perfect just means that I personally can't find flaws with the narrative or with the plot. Where something can still be like, something being perfect does not mean it's like the best, because sometimes I like my stories to have flaws in them, or like little things to like dissect. But in this case, I do think it's genuinely like a perfect story. Like, I find no flaws with the storytelling. It's like an amazing, adventure throughout. Forgive the yawning. I'm gonna try and cut it when I see it, but forgive the yawning. It's like it's like a rather early in the morning for me. But in either way, like again, it's a perfect story. The characters and such are amazing. The plot flows really well in itself. And you're having like a really good time from beginning to end. Where the only negativity, like the only negative I can maybe say about the story, is that you play through it enough times, especially back to back, and the beginning can feel a little slow. But it's less that like that's a bad thing, and more like the game gets so good. And I wouldn't even call it a slow start. I'd say just like the only thing I'm talking about is like maybe Tortoise is like a little less interesting than the rest of the game. But it's like it's your first part of the story. You only have one party member, and like it's an amazing story. So yeah, story wise, it's amazing. Gameplay, I genuinely do. I do sort of like. It can be a very simple game, and especially when you get to some of the like more like when you get into sort of like the meta compositions and stuff like that, it could be seen as sort of like a that can have its own negatives. Like it's either maybe too simple, there's not enough like strategical options, or maybe some things like magic was not like the most balanced. Magic can actually be kind of bad in some instances. uh, but even then, it's never like anything like that would be so distractingly like awful in any way or another that that it's something that you can't just it's still enjoyable. It's very simple, but it's enjoyable. I sometimes like my RPGs to have a little more like complexities, but to say that the game can't be complex at all, or to say the game is too simple, like would be wrong. There's a lot of options you can use, and it helps that like just about every member of the party, even like the ones that are, like aren't as good in terms of like almost like a meta sense, like are very fun to play with. Like Naj is a very like fun little like support like jack of all trades guy. Someone like Kalinka is just big punch, big fists, and like when you set up like the strategies to like do like all the charging effects, and then just dive in with like God's strongest punch, it's just like it's really fun just seeing how high you can get the damage stacked up. And I love what they did with Angie as like another example. Like it is how it is how every tank should be in a game. It really should be that she can just take all this damage. She has a very rough start, but it's like she could just sit there, take all this damage. But it's not like mindless either, because like you can, potentially lose her, or you can like want to use something else. Because even like some of her spells, like even some of her spells can be very useful, like her sleep spell and some of her healing spells. But yeah, everyone has enough to do, and the system like is very like simple, but it's not like without options. Sometimes I guess I just wish that there was a little more going on. Sometimes, like you can just fall into like a few dominant strategies and then you can just roll over the game. But yeah, that's not too bad. And very early on, you're struggling to do that. You are making use of every single mechanic at your disposal. It's just a very simple game, so I guess it depends on how much you like a simple, RPG. And I like the equipment also selection as well. Like I like how evasion is like I like how evasion is not good enough to be like a legitimate stat. Because that's very very hard to do sometimes. Making evasion like a stat that you can full on invest in without having it feel very like all over the place. But it's viable. It's not guaranteed. It's still a luck factor, but it's still pretty viable. But then yeah, just like every it's all good. It's all very good. Like every party member has something that they're supplying to the table, and I can probably put them all in a tier list about usefulness and viability, but there's not a single party member I dislike. And again, that goes to the story too, which I might as well talk about this as well. Character moments. This game has one of the best casts I've ever seen. Like there is not a single weak link among the party. There's not like a single weak link among the party. Everyone of your main cast is a fantastic party member from beginning to end. Even the party members who join late, like they feel like they might as well have been here the whole time with how like close the party gets and how like the story weaves in. Everyone has their like own arcs. Like everyone has their own major significant arc, but everyone still like matters in everyone else's arc too. And that's like a hard thing to do sometimes. I'll mainly probably get more into that in the story spoiler section. But like I do like how everyone weaves in and out of each other's arcs. Like and yeah, like I guess the like a non-spoiler sort of vague example, like when some people sometimes leave the party for one reason or another, you feel it. You feel like something is missing. And like when everyone's back together, it's like, oh hell yeah. The world is also pretty interesting. I like a lot of the like, this isn't the most lore focused game, you don't get so much lore, but all the little like lore crumbs you get is like very very interesting, and I'm like all for it. It's very what you learn. You don't need to learn too much, but what you learn is enough to kind of engage you into this world and its narrative. So yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. Like, because I wanted to like get all my ducks in a row before I get to the spoiler section, which is going to be the longest part, no doubt. But still, So let's see, gameplay I talked about, story I talked about, character moments I talked about. This being one of the best casts. Um, I mean, yeah, is there really nothing else to say? I told you I was doing this off the cuff. I can't think of what else I can think that doesn't involve getting into spoilers. Um, oh wait, might as well say this here. It might seem like a bit of a sudden like twit, like a non sequitur, but like something else I'll also recommend because I've been doing research on it. If you want to get this game, it seems relatively available on Steam, and I think it's on GOG too. Something I will say, for the love of God, get the patch version. Like, get the patch that enables the R18 content back in. Not because even if you don't want to experience the R18 content, there is an R18 skip button, but that's not the reason why I say get the patch. I've done like some light research, so feel free to take everything I say with a grain of salt. About the version releases, but I highly recommend getting the patch for the game. Because even if you don't like the R18 content, you can, for the most part, skip it. The game gives you the R18 skip feature, which allows you to skip all those things. So why do I recommend getting the patch then? Because in theory, the non-patch version would just be the game, but with that stuff, with the R18 version always on. That's not the case. From what I've seen, Demon Roots is a way worse game without the patch. And I feel bad for some of the people because I didn't know how different the patch version was. Like, I didn't know how different the patched version was. So if you guys have been playing that, I feel like so sorry for you guys. Because unless it's changed, the non-patch version is a significantly worse version of the game, from what I understand, in any aspect. I haven't played it to officially confirm, but okay. So here's what it is. Might as well explain it. So for one, some characters got redesigns, and I'm not gonna lie. For the most part, I actually like the redesign of some of the characters. I say some. It's just Angie and Lily. They got redesigns to make their designs less exposed. And while I do like the exposed, I do kind of like the original designs, the more exposed designs, because it kind of fits the characters in the setting. If you know, you know. But those have been redesigned, and that's fine. I actually do like the designs. All right, I think Angie has like a sweater, and Lily has like a just a less exposed dress overall. Nothing too big. And if the game was just doing changes like that, I'd appreciate it. But no, apparently from like a lot of the research I've seen, it gets a lot worse than just that. So because so not only is that change, but some enemy designs are changed as well. As you know, they're not changed, they're replaced. A good example is if you go to Rooklook and you're fighting all of the students, for example, they're just replaced with monsters. And that feels very weird. The story doesn't change. Like, the story and the dialogue doesn't change to reflect that you're fighting creatures now. But you're just fighting monsters. And, I said something about, like, how Angie and Lilykiller got, like, different designs. Then you get people like Sarasa who don't have a portrait at all. I'm not joking. There's just no portrait at all. Like, she doesn't get a portrait. She doesn't even get one in the battle in the menu. All she gets is like her face on the battle screen only. Also, like, it's only on the battle screen where she gets like the face, and that is just like there wasn't even a redesign. You can debate whether or not the characters full on needed a redesign. Maybe maybe some things have just gotten stricter in what you're allowed to release. But having nothing there is very unfortunate. Like, another good example is like in Rooklook when you're fighting like the mini boss, or I guess it would be the actual boss of Rooklook. Again, I'm trying to be spoiler free. It's just replaced with a monster. So yeah, you got all of these. So you got all of these like you get these like mini changes in some aspects. But then you like, and it feels like it goes out of its way to sort of like, it's still Demon Roots, so it can't really like it doesn't turn it into like a horrible game, but it feels very unprofessional. I dare say unfinished, as if like some parts were just taken out. And it does make me wonder if the non-patch version is even official, because I know like when we get to King Exit was on Steam for a while, but then it was dropped because it was a very because apparently the English translation was a very, again, alleged. I don't know for sure. It was a very botched machine translation version, and that version was taken off. So it makes me wonder if something similar is happening here, where someone like, you know, or if the original creator just took these aspects out. There is one more very important thing that is, that affects this, but that one actually does require, I think, does it require spoilers? Um, you know what, fuck it. I think this part doesn't require spoilers. I just won't say parts. The game stops early. Like, the game ends at a different point. There's no new ending. The game ends at a different point. For those who, like, I might talk about it more in the spoiler section, but if you know, you know. But the game cuts off earlier, and you lose about, I would dare say, like, a third, maybe just a quarter, but like a third of the content that you just cannot access. So I highly recommend getting the patch. So yeah, that my little rant aside about that, that's just all I wanted to say on that. Sorry if what I said would count as like slight spoilers for that, but that's genuinely what I recommend. Get the patch version of the game. Get the patch version of the game. Like, find the patch. You can put it on to the Steam and the GOG releases, and it shouldn't be too hard. I think it's just like putting some files in. I I patched the game forever ago. I sadly don't remember, but yeah, get the get the patch. Restore the game to its proper content. It's anything else, just so you can experience the full story. So yeah, this is just where my general thoughts start and stop. Just get yourself, do I recommend the game? 100%. Go in, get the patch, and have yourself a fantastic time with it. All right, spoiler section. Let's do this. And I'm going to say this is also where I'm going to talk about a lot of my personal feelings when doing the project and in and out of the project, because it's actually very important here. Because, I like a lot of what was going on and why I resonate with this game as well as I did only like really makes sense talking about spoilers and talking about the game in more like in-depth detail, because yeah, I'm going to keep it very brief. I talked before about how I went through some pretty horrible shit in the 6 years between me, me basically releasing the last part of Maidens of Michaels. I had another Let's Play going on, Mega Dimension Neptunia, but as you see, I've kind of privated that. It's just an unfinished project, and I kind of didn't want to leave the unfinished projects lingering to be like, okay, but where's the rest of it? And it's like, if I ever do those projects again, I'm going to be restarting those games. In any case, though, so I went through a lot of horrible stuff at the time, mostly just mental abuse at the hands of people that I, once thought were friends. And while I've since been in recovery from that, it's not 100%. I'm not 100% better. I may never be 100% better. I have a lot of, like, issues that have kind of clung to me after that fact. But again, I talked about these things kind of in detail during the Let's Play, so I kind of don't want to go into them right now. Or, like, I don't want to elaborate on them right now and kind of bring the mood down. I kind of would rather just keep things going. But yeah, it's why the cast resonates with me so much. That, like, you see them all going through their own, like, personal, like, trials and tribulations, and you see them come out the other side just so much stronger and, like, a lot more developed as characters. And, like, that's important. I feel like, for me, it reminds me of my own personal journey, where you see all the struggles these people go through and them come out the other side. But also, that, like, there's, like, a sort of, like, peaks and valleys of this. There's going to be a lot of times where the character goes through their character moment. Like, we're riding high for a while. We're kind of running on the full momentum of the story, and we're just enjoying the journey. And then you just get, like, smacked with, like, a brick wall of, like, emotion. Frankly. Like, a lot of my favorite arcs kind of actually do this thing where it's like, okay, we go from something, like, we're going good, and then, holy shit, it gets so much worse. And then, like, we climb out of that, and the climb is slow. Like, that's the thing. Like, for the story to, like, absolutely gut punch you is very quick. To crawl out of that is very, not quick. It's very slow. And it does feel like, and it keeps happening, and it keeps feeling, like, very natural and organic. And I mean that's what makes it like so important. Like my favorite like kind of string of arc from the game is from about um the village of Orf to um is about from the village of Orts to like the Radiant Tower, because that is a whole thing. Is like, you know, we've been slowly, steadily building up like a momentum. We've been getting more allies. I will say that like in terms of like single individual arc, it's probably the Rooklook arc because I I relate to Sarasa so hard. Like also to the point that she's probably I wouldn't like. Here's the thing. I want to say that like, oh, Sarasa is my favorite character in the game. But I swear, my favorite character just changes on like when you ask me. It's usually very consistently Sarasa, but sometimes it's like, oh man, Death Polka is actually my favorite character. It's like, oh man, no, Kalinka is the best. It's like, no, all of these characters are so good. Nash, I fucking love Nash. He's one of he's one of the goats up there. But like, they're all this good, so it's impossible to have like a favorite. But yeah, the stretch from like Orf to the Radiant Tower is so like it's this in a nutshell. And it's so funny that I this arc sticks with me as much as it does because like I was like incredibly sick. Like I had a very bad stomach bug. I almost got like put in the hospital for it. During that time, I was doing the recording, and yeah, it still sticks out as one of the best because it's just like a great moment. Because like you get to Orf, you know, we've slowly been building up a momentum. Like we've slowly been building up like the momentum from like, okay, we've been like gaining more and more power steadily. Like Mark 6 had just happened. So we go to, you know, we go to, oh yeah, it was also after the revolution. So like the game was having a bit of a downer point itself. Like, you know, Clara's heavily injured. Mebius had to fuse with a human to avoid death. And like there's a bit of like losing momentum. Then we have Diana's chapter. But yeah, so you go to Orf. Orf has some like, you know, Orf is like it's a brilliant like environmental storytelling because the whole thing feels very like dark and drab. Like you don't feel like oppressed, but you feel like the weight of this place. And so then, you know, we go there. Then we have, we learn more information. We meet like Daddy Big Nose for the first time, and then like we also like Diana comes back. And this guy who was like kind of hopped up on drugs, he's trying to attack this kid, and Diana stops him. And like I was surprised we were gonna be getting Diana back so soon. Like it feels like it should have taken a little longer, but you know I'm glad it didn't. I was glad to have Diana back because she was a really cool character at the time. So then you know we do that. You know the guy's drugs. We go to like cure him, and like honestly, this game is fucking hilarious. I will say that. I love how many times like you can tell like a very important emotional story beat, but also the game will absolutely see a free time to be hilarious and take it every time. Like there's the whole thing about Diana the entire time being like this drunk sobbing is just like what the fuck's going on with my life. That is kind of like played a little more humorous. And then you have like the interaction with Death Polka and that one plant that she's so absolutely enamored with that when Angie tries to like pick the plant, Diana like no, not Diana. Polka almost breaks her hand about it. And I think Polka even says something is like, I value these plants more than I value you. So like that's like a funny little moment. And then we cure the guy. And then like, you know, I wish I had visuals to accompany this, but again, I wanted to make this audio only just, you know, for that sake. But it's like, you know, Diana figures out that like Death Polka could just like cure like drug addiction. And there's like she's being chased all over the screen. And just like, holy shit, how'd you do this? You need to come to my world right now. And it's like it's all like very fun little interactions. You know, and then like the momentum, you know, all of this, it's been funny. But then the momentum kicks back up. We're gonna try and kick the Emperor's ass. We have that fight with the Emperor that like he dies in one hit. And like obviously, you know, not even for a second is the game letting you think like, oh yeah, we truly won. You also get to see the Emperor be a bit of a like a manipulative bastard too. I know there's like the scene where like he got like where like he got blood on the robe or something like that, and it's just I wish I remember this exact moment more, but it's like it's such like a he's such a shitty guy sort of moment. And then you know everyone gets captured, everyone's like hung up on the cross, like on the crosses to be. Or were they just poles? Yeah, no, they're just poles. I don't think they would have gotten away with hanging everyone on crosses. to sacrifice these people to the Ultra Beast, which I even skipped that part. Just you learn like, okay, this is how they do their mining facilities. They just sacrifice the shit out of people, which very dark. You see these moments, you see everyone getting together. You're like motivated to like fight this guy, rescue your friends as well. And then the truck comes in, and then like the chase sequence. Like, I don't think I even need to say anything about the chase sequence. Just the chase sequence is awesome, and the CG that accompanies it is like just as awesome. So that happens. You charge into the group has the plan to like, okay, we're gonna take these fuckers like to Maximus, and I'm like, oh, that is very cool. That is exactly how we're gonna infiltrate. We're just gonna use the Empire's shit against them. So then like the whole chase happen. The whole chase happens. You guys make a thing. You smash through the walls. That's also where you learn that like that's very, very specific species of Ultra Beast is peaceful by comparison, and it's caused all this collateral damage. And then you go to Maximus. The part in Maximus itself is a little slow. Going that dungeon is actually a little like you're going up and down and all around, up and down and all around. It's like a little bit of a maze. I overall enjoy like the aesthetics and the music for it, but it's not my favorite. Then you go through like the dungeon. You fight that guy who's like a very big fan of Lilykiller. I can't. The game will just take it. The game will just take its occasional like. The game will just take the occasional chance to be funny, even in mainly serious moments. And it's not pace breaking either. It just is what it is. But anyway, we do that. We get Lilykiller. We go to the King of Maximus. We kick his ass. We also learn of King Exit, which man, I feel very. I mean, it should have been obvious to me, I guess, that that King Exit is referenced to a game that already came out, but I don't know if I ever quite put 2 and 2 together on that. But yeah, that part was very amusing. Well, not amusing, but like very interesting. You learn like, okay, there is a fate. There is a fate, and they actually do it pretty well. Where it's not like this is destined to happen, but it's an Albeid. It's like a relic, like from the future that tells events. So it's like, okay, it's not inherently that this is destined to happen, but this is what happened. And it's matching everything. It kind of puts everyone on edge a little bit, but also it's like, cross that bridge when we get there, fate doesn't define us. And then we kick the King of Maximus's ass. I also say that like Prism Trism is probably my second favorite ultimate skill unlock. Nothing can quite beat Mission Punch and like the boss fight with the king, and then how you flash back to her like Kalinka realizing her ultimate power. But Prism Trism is actually pretty fun. So we do that. We get Maximus. We get that whole celebratory moment with the party. Everything's all fun. Everything's all good. And then it's just like, okay, we have a fate to worry about, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Literally a day passes. Okay, bridge is crossed. We're literally in deep shit right now. All these demons are going insane. And I'm here, like, genuinely shocked. It's like, I thought we would have a little bit more time. It's like, holy shit, I thought we had, like, a little more time. I didn't think, like, the fate that is that is, like, the impending doom that is coming for us would be right fucking now. And so then you get the Berserk Demon arc, and holy shit, that so sad. Like, I don't know how many people remember Ratademon and Gilhan. I still mourn for those guys. Like, getting your first party members and one being this just, like, almost average, everyday guy, except he's a demon, and then the dog, and then you have to beat the shit out of both of them and, like, kill them. It's like, no, don't make me do this. And it's also the first time you really see Polka break down. It's the first time you really see her get this so, like, distressed and freaking out. And so, like, yeah. And then, like, okay, the fucking Clara boss fight. That one is still, like, that is still a moment, honestly. And it's a moment because, like, I was playing, one of the times I played through the game was with a friend. It was the second time I played through the game. It was a friend. I was showing them it, and doing all of that. And, like, there was a moment where, like, my friend is, like, not, like, talking too much. I'm like, hey, is everything all right? Because I knew they loved Clara. It's like, oh, no, dost thou know? No, they don't know what's coming up. And it's like, they told me after the fact, it's like, oh, yeah, I was kind of quiet because I was, like, fucking crying. Like, in silence. And it's like, God, like, yeah. Like, damn. And it really does hit. The fact that I didn't cry during that sequence just kind of shows, like, I don't cry too much. You got to do like a lot of really emotional build up for me. And I think the fact that I was able to like pace those recordings a little bit. I did the whole Berserk Demon thing in one video, but I had like, you know, the momentum. Like I had like I think I like it was a day between finishing Maximus and doing the Berserk Demon arc. But yeah, that was all intense. Then you get to like, oh, there was a there's a traitor among us. There's a traitor among us, and that's a big deal. I know I'm just recapping a part of the story. By the way, I don't know how to describe it. I want to I'm trying to describe just like why I find this stretch of game like the best, and it involves a lot of describing what's happening going on. But also, it's like again, this is how much of a game is like I consider one of the best, and we've already covered like a dungeon and a half already because like Orph is kind of a dungeon. It could be 2 dungeons if you see it that way. I just kind of see it as one. No, we've done 2 definitive dungeons at this point. And then like the Berserk Demon arc, it's like half a dungeon because it's like Bahalos again. But so yeah, we got the traitor thing, and the only critique I would have about the traitor plot is that it's the part that works the best. Like, Angie being the traitor, my live reaction to that is absolutely it's just like where like okay no 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 no. No. Anyone but Angie. I was willing to believe it would be literally anyone else but Angie. It's not even because, like, oh, Angie's the favorite character. She wasn't even the favorite character. She's just the character I least suspected to do it. And, like, it can almost be seen as a bit of a critique. Because, like, I also got there with my friend. And it's like, bait used to be believable was literally their response. It's like, I almost wonder if Angie is too unsuspecting. That it immediately clues you into the fact that something's wrong. But then you get, like, her talk. It is, like, very chilling. And you kind of really can maybe start to believe that Angie's the traitor. Though, it was me and my friend. I don't know about anyone else. Like, anyone else just think, like, okay, Scathah is, like, the bad guy then? Like, it's almost a plot twist that Scathah was not the bad guy at that point. Because it's like, he does his magic to get into their minds, and suddenly Angie's acting weirdly. Like, I know that was a thing for a while, but I also was kind of, like, did not quite realize how peak the storytelling was yet, where I genuinely did think we were going to have to fight, like, Tadiro, Scathah, and, like, Zahari. I forgot how you say his name. Zahari. I thought we were going to have to fight him at one point. Like, we were going to find, it was going to be some sort of, like, I don't know, weird, like, we're not bound by anyone sort of story. But then the actual story we get told is, like, 10 times greater than that, so... Like, you got the Zanahari, like, you got everyone, like, having their opinions on it. And then you have, like, the, Lily stabbing you and being like, okay, are you going to keep your promise or are we not going to keep our promise? Which, by the way, to the people who saw the last section, yes, that's where the unpatched version of the game ends. It ends with the bad ending. Like, you don't even get the CG of Polka, like, being stabbed. So that moment loses so much, like, less. Like, that moment, no, not less. That moment loses, like, so much more going on. But yeah, you wait at the screen long enough, you decide to keep your promise. A nice detail I saw is that Polka's thoughts never say to kill anyone else. It is kill me, which shows both that she never would have had it in her to betray her friends if she thought about it long enough. But also, she rather would have just died than kept living with that betrayal. But that also means she never really wanted to hurt Angie. And yeah, the non-patch version of the game ends with the fucking King Exit is canon ending, and it's like I can't tell if that's clever or horrible. But either way, really, good moment. And then, kind of to abridge everything else. It is that from that point where it's like if you're not sold on the game, I feel like that point tells you. I was already sold on the game at that point. But then we enter, like, we are so back territory so hard after that. Like, after we resolve. You get the moment with Zanahari where it's like, oh, here is my heart, by the way. No, it's not the heart. Like, she put a root in, like, her chest. She, like, put, like, a root in her chest. And so if, like, Zanahari activated it, it would, like, kill her. Something like that. I can't remember exactly what she did. No, she gives it to Tadira first. And Tadira's like, no, I stand with you. And then Zanahari is mad, so Tadira's like, okay, you. And then he's there, thinking about it, and it's like, okay, how do we destroy this without killing you? So it's like everyone's with you. We're defying fate, defying like the predestined path before us. Not giving in to hatred. Um, everyone's with you. We are so back. Freaking, you get Nash, who has like an epic opener. Fucking Mebius comes back in Knight Commander's body. Is like, again, it's the most like we are so back I have ever felt in a game. And then like everything after that to like Radiant Tower is like just okay. We're building. We're kind of building back up. The Doremi fuck Kingdom Manager is a piece of shit, and I love to beat his ass every time. Like I get to that boss fight, and every time Kalinka just does the mandatory mission punch, I'm here like woo. So yeah, that part of the game is epic, and I didn't mean to spend so much time talking about just this one part of the game, especially since the rest of the game is so fucking good. I talk about that being my favorite stretch of game, but like we have the Rooklik arc, which is amazing. We have the Plana arc, which is like the first time the game starts really getting good to me. And then also like I feel like I'd be remiss to not mention like the biggest turnaround of a character to exist. So it's about Lilykiller and the Eternity Doll arc. So I like Lilykiller. I love Lilykiller. And but my friend who originally played it, like Lilykiller was one of their favorite characters, and I just didn't see it at the moment. It's just like yeah, she's cool, and I'm sure like as the game develops, we're gonna get more of her character. But like she just seems to be the sort of like, you know, like she's already like she's already like trope inverting a Yandere a little bit because she's not completely obsessed. She's just very crazy. But it's like nah, it's just like people like her because she's kind of like crazy and stuff, isn't it? It's like nope. Okay, where's the apology form? I will sign that shit right away. Get to the Eternity of Doll arc. You learn about their friendship, like between her and Polka, and just like all the shit she went through. It's like okay, no, I sincerely apologize for everything I have ever said bad about Lily. Which I never even said anything bad about Lily. I just thought it's like she's good, but she's not as good as the rest of these characters. And then it's like no, she's as good as the rest of them. She deserves to be a favorite. And Polka and Lily deserve all the happiness in the world. Little did they know, getting to the end of this game. So, but yeah, it's like there's not a single like moment in the game that I would be like, okay, this is bad. The most you get is kind of Tortoise going through it again, but it's only because the game is going to get so much better. For the time, it's a very good story, and it sets up the White Phantom. The Emperor the Emperor is such a magnificent bastard of a villain. Like especially when you realize that. Especially when you realize at the very end, like during the Lost Innocence chapter, that like he made that deal. It's the darkest. It is the darkest moment in the story. Just like even more dark than the Berserk Demon arc, where like okay, we've kind of like we've won, but at what cost? And it does not feel like a good enough cost to have justified this bullshit. And then you learn, no, he still couldn't help himself. He could not resist having complete control. So it's like, okay, fuck it, I make this deal, but also I'm going to nuke the shit out of the southern half of the continent because I can't have it. And I'm like, that is so deliciously petty. That is so deliciously petty. And I just love that as like a villain. He's such a pure scum of the earth guy. You understand, like, you also understand his origins. And I will say, it's the one thing where it's like, I don't completely, like, I'll say this, I'll never feel like sympathy for like the Emperor or the Blessed Curse, but you do understand why it's born of such like horrible like grief and like loneliness. Like you get what it's supposed to like represent, and it's like that is also like just as amazing. So yeah, it's a great game throughout. Like all the villains are good. I mentioned Doremi fucking the manager, like the assassin man, and then I mentioned like Emperor. But also, who else is really good? Diablo. I can do like a whole thing about Diablo. In fact, I can do a whole thing about the rest of the story. I do want to do like a long talk about just like the entire plot and why it's so amazing. But like I would literally be there for like hours and hours, and I definitely would need to have someone to talk to like bounce thoughts off of, so I don't just keep veering off like I'm doing right now into like, oh, this part's amazing. Oh, this part's amazing. Oh, this part right here is just extra amazing. But it's like it is a like again great game like through and through. It is just great game through and through. You have so many moments, and then like last part I want to talk about is like the ending. So I kind of hang around the Demon Roots subreddit. That's I think where I learned that King Exit actually got its official English release, and I mean, yeah, I'm sticking by that. We're gonna be playing the shit out of that. We're gonna be playing the shit out of that. I might just start recording it today after this episode's over. But again, something for another time. Um, and you get this vibe where it's just like the ending definitely has a very mixed reception, but I genuinely is like I understand why it has that mixed reception, but I love the game too much to care, kind of. But also, I feel it's the like almost sort of like best ending that we could have gotten for a game like this, because it's one of those things where it's like you're doing this on a second playthrough, and you kind of like you do the first playthrough and you're kind of like what the hell is going on, and then you get to like all subsequent playthroughs and you very much realize it's like, oh yeah, no, we were always kind of destined for this point. I wonder if playing King Exit you like extra get that feeling that we're always heading that way, but I'd have to play King's Exit first to kind of understand that. But it's like, yeah, there is a very bitter element to this where like I get it, knee jerk reaction, and I was kind of on the same boat too, where it's like, oh my god, this has the potential to absolutely like be one of those amazing games with a horrible ending. The knee jerk reaction is to be like, oh, we tried so hard, why is it all falling apart? Like that's the knee jerk reaction. I'm like, game, I have faith, salvage this, and then they do salvage it. But anyway, I get why it's like controversial as it is. It's very I get why it's like as controversial as it is. It's very it's taking a risk in being like, here is this absolute like downer point. Bear with us for a little bit. Because because like it's literally a case of like, okay, we're about to be like murdered by an assassin. Lily Killer comes to save us. She gets knocked out. It's high stakes, and it's like, oh, we didn't actually achieve anything according to the book of King's Exit. It all just gets worse unless we get you know, unless this, the savior comes and like puts an end to us like right now. And like it can be very frustrating being like, oh, we worked so hard for this. Why is this happening? The chase sequence is cool as hell, by the way. I will say you definitely do feel like the up stakes, the danger. And then Lily, and then it's like, oh, we fought our hardest, but like Polka's still dying. She's so heavily exhausted that this battle's pushed her to her limit. She's like, what she does in her last moments is like takes Lily and leaves. And then you get that moment like they're sitting by the cliffside. She's crying. It's like, where did it all go wrong? Was this never meant to be? And like it's so depressing. And the only sort of like consolation you almost get is that, okay, I'm gonna cryo freeze us in crystal until like it breaks out like a couple thousand years later. And if the game ended there, I think I'd be with everyone else. I'd be like, what the fuck? This game sucks. I wouldn't think the game sucks, but it's definitely knee-jerk reaction to be like, if a game has an ending, where it's just like, what was this all for? Fuck this game. This game's so shit. Like, I definitely would have calmed down from that and just been like, oh, this game has a very shitty ending. But no, because it keeps going. That epilogue scene, I cried. We all saw it. I cried during that shit. And I think I cried because it's like, it settles like why I love this game and why this ending is as great as it is. So, because here's the thing, we never really do anything to mend the fences between demonkind and humankind. Our small little party is like a band of like 2 demons and like 6 humans. And we're all getting together. We all see like Tadira and Zanahari and like Skazal like kind of like calm down. But like that's very small scale. Like you kind of look back at the game and realize like, what are we doing, right? At the moment we're just like brainwashing humans, we're taking over territory. And, we're being, like, peaceful rulers, but that might not be enough. The hatred never quite goes away, especially since we still have to use these underhanded methods. And, like, the mentality, so quick when you do that, like, when you get into that, is like, this is just temporary. This is just temporary. It'll pay off. It'll pay off. It'll pay off. And then, like, I think, like, a combined, I think, like, 3 years passed in the whole game. And, like, obviously, when it comes to, like, world conquest, it's a very small scale of time. But, yeah, it's just, like, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. We never get to it. And when you realize that like the hooded figure at all the Bahelo statues is probably humanity's savior, like it kind of makes sense that she keeps warning us like, you're making mistakes, like take a minute to consider this. And it's like, again, we'll do it later, and then later never comes. And sometimes like that's just life, ain't it? Sometimes like later can't come. Like there is not enough time for like there's not enough like time for later. Or sometimes later is like, you know, we push it off too long and then this shit happens. And like obviously also like we saw our own like personal gaggle of friends grow and like even the demons that we associated with. But clearly, you know, with things like Skatha and Tadira, it wasn't enough. Like it wasn't quite enough. Like because immediately it's just like Polka like the timeline of this part is confusing, but it implies that like Polka was gone for like maybe a few days. It's never clear how long it takes for her to walk back up to that cliffside, but it's like Polka is gone for like barely some time, and like immediately the hatchery gets activated. Immediately they're doing like invasion shit. So it's like it wasn't not enough. Like that part very clearly it was not enough. Like clearly like they were like about to switch flip away. Polka was the only thing holding them back, and the game almost like foreshadows it. Because like early on, before the threat is the bad end dungeon, it's like, okay, you fucked this up. We're gonna go do conquest. That's all we understand. And it looks like at the end, that's still all they ever completely understood. They were just so trusting of Polka, but with Polka gone, they do things their way. So you kind of realize that. But then also you realize, and why we get to the epilogue and why it's so important and why it, like it gets like tears out of me, is like at the end of the day, it almost doesn't matter. And what I mean by that it doesn't matter, is that like you realize like kind of at this moment, Demon Roots was not a story about world conquest. It wasn't even inherently a story about like overcoming slavery and stuff like that. All of these points are very important points to the story, but at least for me, that's not what the game ends up being about. What the game ends up being about is found family. The story of Death Polka, the person so scared to be alone that you know, Death Polka, the person so scared to be alone, finding family, finding friendship, finding like unity. And that's why the ending matters so much. And that's why it is the best ending. I don't even think it's a bittersweet ending. I think it's just kind of straight up a sweet one. It just takes a bitter step to get there. Because, you know, when you think about what all of Death Polka's friends did in that time she was frozen, it's like you get Angie's descendant dressing up in the armor just to make sure that she's not alone, that she's greeted. And it's almost like treated as this like divine duty that the same fucking armor gets passed down. And it's like, yeah, that's a very Angie thing to do. And then you learn, okay, Clara is alive. She like everyone else seems to have died, but Clara survived. And it's because like she got resurrected because Sarasa was helping to like, you know, to like kind of mature one of those squids into a proper like, you know, Clara sort of clone. And then it's like, oh, and then there's like a very small subset of demons. There's like a very small subset of demons who like were able to find like a little thing on this island. And if anyone ever came by, you know, Kalinka's descendants would help fight them off. And it's like that all that stuff is so beautiful. Like why I was crying is like, think about like these people, these friends we made, and they all did that for Polka. They all did that just to make sure that Polka's worst fear was never realized, that she was never alone. And that's beautiful. And again, for me especially, who again had very, very like broken relationships for a long time. Like I can't think of anything better. Like that type of friendship, that type of like family, that type of connection that is like forged through like so much like conflict and everyone coming together is like that's why that is like one of the best endings in a video game. Like full on, it is like one of the best ending. It is probably the best ending in a game. I might just stand by that. Like 10 toes down, we'll stand by that. I think it also is kind of doing that because it seems to be opening the door so that the events of that some variation of King Exit and Demon Roots can be canon in the same universe, because otherwise they're mutually exclusive. And from what I understand, fucking King Exit, a very popular game. The same consideration I keep hearing from like, you know, the subreddit, and I think I saw like one King Exit review and skipped like the spoiler section, is like, oh, this is one of, like, everyone's like, oh, King Exit is probably the best game to have ever come out, and then Demon Roots came out, and then it's like, nah, this is the best the developers ever created. which makes me excited for King's Exit. But yeah, stories like that is like I have no words. It's the best. I want to like one day go into detail and kind of analyze all of what it means, make an analysis of it. But I don't have that right now. Not in me. It's like, no, this is it. This is the best. We've reached the peak, and it ends like so perfectly. There's something I didn't even notice originally, but I noticed a little after the fact. Is like you see the descendants of all the characters in the background, and it's like you like Polka has her family. Polka has her family unit. She has her like piece. She achieved something in the end through all of her actions. Even if it took a fucked process to get there, and even if it's quite not what we imagined, it's there. We did it. And you definitely feel part of that. All right, so I have one last bit of this video to go, and we'll get into that. All right, here's my little part of the video that I've kind of like tucked away into the like very end of the sort of analysis, because it's something completely different. I might even make this its own separate video, or I might do both, make this a separate video and make it a snippet of the bigger video. But here's what I want to do. And it's, I get a rare opportunity to do this because not many games let me do this. And I'm going to call this the King Exit Speculation Quarter, which also I've realized now looking at this, I have fucked up King Exit's name too, because I keep saying King's Exit. No, it is King Exit. So what this is going to be, and this is mainly going to be spoilers for Demon Roots. It's still in the spoiler section. But it also is going to have a few spoilers for King Exit as well, because I want to use a lot of the information I have to speculate parts of the game. I want to speculate a bit about King Exit before we go into it. Now, it might be, okay, Seti, how much do you know? And how much have you probably accidentally spoiled yourself to, dumbass? Which, to be fair, that one's fucking fair. If I spoil myself, that shit's on me. But here's the thing. Since I go into my playthroughs blind, I'm going to be real. I'm not really going to... I sometimes go into playthroughs blind and then also is like, oh, I'm going to, try to also keep the blind experience going for the average user. And I will be doing that too. You know how it is. I usually get to a point, and if I was spoiled by something, I'll admit at that moment to being spoiled by it. But this is going to be something, for example, I'm probably going to be talking about Demon Root spoilers in the King Exit playthrough. It's just how my brain works. It's how I'm going to be observing things. I kind of can't help it. And for those who know me, I think I've done this a few times even. But either way, so what I'm going to do is I have 3 things I want to talk about, all related to King Exit, that probably spoil the game in one way or another. Technically 4 things, but one of them I don't have up with me. And we're going to be going through that, and we're going to be seeing what I can maybe figure out of this game, just from those little bits and features. I want to do this because it feels like there's like a fun in speculating this sort of thing. And I do want to talk about like one thing that like frustrates the hell out of me that I did accidentally spoil myself to. Though that being said, I am in the unique position where I know there's going to be something, but I don't know the context of it. But yeah, this has spoilers for both Demon Roots and King Exit, including things I have not actually covered on my channel about Demon Roots. So again, proceed with super caution. So all right, let's get into this, the little speculation corner. So first thing I actually want to cover is the manual. The manual, unlike the rest of the things, is like, this is what you get with the game. When you download the game from where you got it, which I forgot the name of the website. I'm probably gonna like put it on screen or something of where I ended up getting it. Like, this is the part you're kind of expected to go into, so it probably doesn't spoil the game in any way. So I want to go into that. So let me pull it up as my main thing right now. All right, where you go? All right, here. All right, I'm gonna have these like one tab at a time. So this is the King Exit Guide. And the first thing we get is actually a note from the creator. Thank you so much for picking up the Prison Break RPG King Exit. Prison Break. I want to get back to this. It has to do with like my speculation. This is a game I, Mato Akari, have been passionately working on for 3 years while continuing my manga serialization. Also, never realized the guy was a manga never realized the guy was a manga guy. I'll have to look up his work after this is all over. Since it's made by a self-proclaimed manga artist who got totally absorbed into it, you might expect it to be really fun. But some players might end up feeling it's rather boring. That would simply be due to my lack of skill and something I must seriously reflect on. However, please note that refunds or complaints will be absolutely not accepted. With such fiery feelings filling my heart, I present to you King Exit, the Prison Break RPG. I hope you enjoy it to its fullest. And we see a few characters in the background that I never really noticed before, but we also see our main character right here, Gaia Louise, and this girl right here, which I do want to mention. I think we see this girl in Demon Roots. I think she's like the little kid we see in Orph. But again, that's only a guess. And yeah, I know I know this is Gaia Louise. Even if you get to like that part in the end after the Kudan battle where you see your silhouette, yeah. Anyway, so all right, we got a table of contents, how to start the game, how to update, how to play. This I want to focus on. Prison Break. I would not have expected a RPG to have the story that we think it does about defeating probably the demon lords again, to be called a Prison Break RPG, which makes me wonder if we're going to either like kind of be playing two scenarios where we'll be playing like Gaia Louise as like the hero, but also like a prison break adventure at the same time. Maybe like the hero Gaia Louise is like is almost like a prologue into this. But again, it's called a Prison Break. So that gives a lot to think about. I also see this scene right here, these two smiling. I wonder if this is like a bath scene of some sort. This teaches, how to start the game, how to update it. There's not much to really speculate about here, how to play with the controls. And okay, so we see some screenshots down here, and they're very blurry, and I'm not gonna like zoom in too close on them, but it kind of gives us the sense of the type of game like this will be. We'll talk about him in a second. I'll talk about him later. Looking down here, we see what seems to be like the cast, and it seems like we're actually gonna have a mixed gender cast, which we kind of had for King's Exit, but not King's Exit, which we kind of had for Demon Roots, but let's be real, unless these two guys are like the only guys, I doubt it. And this looks to be like a super attack. Let's see, how to defeat powerful enemies, review your equipment, the gear you find during exploration is powerful, don't forget to equip it, the skills your characters learn can be very powerful if mastered. I wonder if this means we're going to have like a use your skills a few times, like use your skills to upgrade them sort of mechanic. Let's see, level up. In this game, it's easy to level up through regular battles. If enemies feel too strong, go hunt some mobs. It's very interesting to call yourself a grind game. You can easily kind of like, yeah. It's a very dangerous game to call yourself a grind game for sure. But yeah, losing is not a shame. Learn from defeat. If you can take them down in the end, victory is yours. I'm going to guess. Oh wait, no, I just realized something. Oh shit, is this like Ultra Beast gone? I think like this is his silhouette. Oh shit, man. We could be fighting the fucking Ultra Beast again. Good God. Anyway. So, yeah, this is how we're gonna kind of be going through this. If the difficulty is anything like it is in Demon Roots, it won't be too bad for sure. And okay, I gotta go. I gotta scroll this page down because yeah, okay. I have to be very careful with that page because I know what the page underneath that one looks like. I've read this manual before. Anyway, rules for streaming and Let's Playing. I also wanted to read these like in real time with you because like it's something I want to do. I want to make sure I'm doing. So, to everyone thinking about making videos or streaming King's Exit, thank you so much. To avoid taking away the enjoyment from those who will be playing King's Exit for the first time, I'd like to just set one rule. No spoilers and thumbnails. We want to avoid a situation where people searching for videos to prepare to look up strategies get spoiled by thumbnails and lose a chance to enjoy certain surprises in the main story. Please do not reveal in thumbnails, either through images or text. The true identities of characters or late story developments, party members who will join but are not shown on the official introduction page, enemies that appear in subsequent playthroughs. I like to think I've been good about this for Demon Roots itself. Sadly, there's going to be a thing where if you get late enough into a part, you're going to see like characters that may be like part of the party. I'm definitely going to try to. I hope I've been avoiding that for the most part, but I don't know how like inevitable something like this becomes. Oh yeah, attention. In King's Exit, many art-themed events are included as part of the main story. If you plan to stream or broadcast the game, please carefully consider both the platform's policies and the comfort of your viewers. These rules solely do exist to ensure everyone can play or enjoy the game. Thank you very much for your cooperation. So, yeah, welcome to why I never stream. Welcome to, like, for the most part, why you'll never really see me stream these games. But yeah, I wanted to think about this. So, this is a Prison Break story. And for those who have played the bonus content of Demon Roots, which we'll get to that in a second, there's something also to see that a lot of these characters up here who seem like they'll be party members, this Glasses Man at least seems to be a party member according to this screenshot right here. Like, yeah, it leads me to believe we're going to have two stories. Also, Gail Louise is here twice, and there's Humanity Savior over in the corner. I know her name, I'm just not going to say it yet. But yeah, it looks like we're going to be playing as a story of like a hero who does like a heroic thing and maybe what looks to be some sort of downfall after the fact. Because I also like, yeah, this is the, because this like the, this is probably what the opening screen looks like. So yeah, if this is a Prison Break RPG, that's what I feel like we're going to do. I have a little more reasons to believe this, but this is like the core of it for right now. Also, you can tell that this note was very much made before, when he made King's Exit and not Demon Roots, because King's Exit is like a very like revered game from what I understand. So anyway, there's that part of the speculation. The next thing I want to talk about, and next thing I kind of want to go over, is the original Steam page. Is the original Steam page for the game. And the way I want to cover the game Steam page is that, so we're going to be going through like the screenshots and some of the information. I'm going to try to avoid spoilers best as I can, but I want to talk about the things that I've seen here. We're mostly just going to be looking at the initial images though. We'll cover the trailer last. I've actually never seen the trailer, so I wonder if we can extract from that. But anyway, so this is the first image you see after the trailer. It's obviously Gail Louise. I'm not translating these images because like I feel like the image like itself is kind of what I want to look at, and I wanted to. So yeah, we have Gail Louise in this armor. Is this armor kind of like the armor from the guide? No, it looks different. There's like frills and shit. I mean, maybe this is from like the before times, but that also doesn't completely check out according to things in the Demon's Roots post game. I wonder if maybe this is I wonder if maybe this is, like, I wonder if we're going to get, like, an apostle form equivalent. Maybe that's where it comes from. So, yeah, we have this. This is some, like, white, some, like, frills here. I do wonder what she's saying, but again, I'm not going to actually check what she's saying. Next. Okay, this image I saw, and I saw after, like, Demon Roots was over, and I was looking up King Exit, and I just, like, pogged the fuck out. I'm like, yo, Stodira! Which also tells me we're probably going to be his enemy in this game. Given that this is going off of the ending of the game where Death Polka turns her back on humanity, like it's going off of that ending of Demon Roots, yeah, this guy's obviously going to be an enemy. It's interesting to see that he was here first. I feel like there's also differences in his design if I were to look, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot less nuance, a lot more just straight evil version of this guy. And it would be interesting to see how merciless is he to his enemies. There's also kind of lines up with the epilogue of like how seemingly a Suicide Squad went and charged the castle and killed him. And I wonder if that's going to be us, if we're going to be that Suicide Squad. This ending right, yeah, this right here. Okay, so this guy, yeah, clearly I think this more than anything obviously tells you that the fucking the manager, like, okay, so it's funny to see that he was actually like a reference to King Exit, and I wonder how many like people who played King Exit first and Demon Roots just look at this guy, they just meets that guy in the Don't Really Fuck Kingdom, was like, what the fuck happened here? But also, you motherfucker, you. Assuming he's evil here. Oh my god, imagine if he was playable or something. That'd be some shit. I don't know if I'd use him. I don't know if my pride would let me use him. And we see this lady here. I think she's an Albaid. She's just rather, like, normally, and I imagine that's a gun behind her. So, yeah, we have that. Again, no idea what they're saying. It'll be interesting seeing what's going on with this guy. It also makes me wonder how much of, like, Demon Roots is, okay, this is the last setting in a new context, or versus, like, this is a completely, like, original setting. So I wonder, like, is the Do-Re-Mi Fuck Kingdom still around? Does he ever talk about his time being there, and then it was elaborated on in Demon Roots, or not? Anyway. Okay, this I've seen before. This armor, which also I noticed it has like the puffing of the cloth here from where like it bends. Oh wait, no, I just noticed also Tadira, and that's Skatha. I don't know if that's Zanari right there, but it could make sense. And then there's something right here. I wonder if this has to do with the fact that Clara is dead. I wonder if that plot point was considered even this far back. But yeah, this armor, this Gale Louise armor, I've seen it a few times, and again, we'll be getting back to the Demon Roots thing a little later. I keep mentioning, it's like, why the fuck does he keep mentioning Demon Roots? We're getting there. But yeah, this is what also makes me think we're going to be getting told two stories. Again, a time of Gale Louise being the hero, and then like the prison break. We got these two guys who are, they look like they're party members. This guy's just crying, poor guy. I wonder what was even said. And then we get this guy, the swordsman. So possible party members, and it shows like the gender ratio. Unless these are the two only guys, like, and no, we saw like the glasses guy before, so it's probably a more even gender ratio. Here's a little bit of what gameplay looks like. It looks like this girl looks like she's important. She's using an ultimate skill of some kind. I see it letterboxes, but it doesn't take the numbers away. I wonder what this 11, 2, and 16 mean. Like, this is HP, this is MP, obviously. Yeah. Okay, we have a moment of, okay, we have this girl here, and then we have Gale Louise. It looks like something like embarrassing was brought up. Oh wait, this is what Gale Louise sprites look like? Then, 1 second. Okay, so she's in this cutscene too. Oh, and so is the girl. So, this girl must be like a party member or something then. Oh my god, that does mean, like, oh my god, is there a chance this guy joins? I kinda hope not. That would be some shit though. Anyway, so it looks like they're just having a conversation. Is that the same outfit? It kind of looks like, it's hard to tell. This looks like a dungeon of some kind. This kind of almost looks like the EX dungeon in Tortoise. Like, obviously it's not, the colors are all different, but like, yeah, it looks like a lot of the, I mean, then again, there's also like, RPG Maker games just might look similar. And then there's this. Yeah, your guess is as good as mine is what the fuck's going on here. I see a lava dungeon, and that's kind of interesting. But this girl, like, is she an Albaid? She doesn't quite look of the era. And lastly, I'm going to be listening it to in mute, but I actually want to, oh, it was playing already, okay. I want to see the trailer. I've actually never seen the trailer before. Let's unmute it, fuck it. I look forward to being copyright struck as we speak. While I did originally want to show the King Exit trailer here, I ultimately decided not to. Originally, I came in with the mentality of, oh, if it's good for Steam to show, it's probably good for YouTube to show. But one, YouTube is probably stricter about these things, and second, I kind of realized after the fact, okay, but Steam, as much as the age gating is perhaps not fully effective, does age gate you before you enter this page. So it probably would be just best to err on the side of caution. You'll hear me talk about the trailer and some of the stuff we see in it. All I can recommend is, going on to the Steam page for King Exit and seeing the trailer yourself. I wish I could show it, but ultimately we don't miss much when it comes to the speculation time. And, I talk about the necessary parts. Anyway, let's keep going. Okay, so we do fight the Do-Re-Mi Kingdom guy again. Okay. Yeah, I was mainly quiet through that. Like, I did not know the suggested parts were coming. I almost said something. I was like, oh, hello. But you know what? If it's good, if it's good for Steam, it's good for YouTube. I'm also quiet just in case I need to edit that part out. Okay, so we get to see the fight. We seem to fight the guy. It seems like we're going to be getting quite a cast of characters. Some of them had their faces obscured, which is like strange, and I can't read any of the text. So this is the like these last parts here are the parts that I want to look over. For the rest of like the speculation. All right, so it's like all right, so this part because of the great hero Gallowese. Yeah, it's a very like scuffed. Yeah. Because of the great hero Gallowese, demons are all destroyed. For a rookie teenager to become a savior, everyone loved her. Life seemed happy, and the world was at peace as it could ever get. But 3 years later, Hero Gallowese was not only have lost her house, her friends, and not only have lost her house, her friends and family members were slaughtered. So yeah, okay, that's definitely what's giving also the vibe of like, okay, shut up, shut up, game. In fact, I'm gonna pause you. So yeah, this is what also gave me the vibe. It's like, okay, so like her becoming like a hero seemingly early on tells me that like we're gonna be getting some of that going. Like maybe like her being a hero is a prologue. Though I don't know how I'd feel if like like imagine like we build up guys like Tadira and then they're just fucking and then they're just fucking like they're tutorial bosses, or maybe we'll switch back and forth. I don't know. It tells me that two stories are going to be going on. All right. So about this game, trading card, storyline because of the great hero. Okay. Okay, but 3 years later, Hero Gallowese has not only lost her house, her friends and was slaughtered. Shouldering the great guilt, she was taken to the infamous underground prison. So, okay, so a lot of people close to her die, and she's accused of it. Let's see, characters. The prisoner, let's see this. The prisoner, Gallowese, stripped of all her costumes, magic spells, and equipment, and with them, the meaning to live. Then she met the blind girl, Sidaya? They bonded and both decided that no matter what, they're going to get out of here. So that's what it means by prison break. And it seems like the blue hair girl, that's her name. But obviously it's not her name because we have Gallowese over here. Let's see. SDY. Like, this is like Yaya, I think. Yeah, no, I have no idea. Anyway, let's read more. Game, easy to play, turn-based RPG using HP, MP, and TP, pie off powerful enemies. We saw like what looks to be like we have a few ultimate skills, yeah. Along with companions you rescued along the way. Underground levels. Vegetation grown underground can cure you. Broken keys and items found in the dead can be crucial to get out. So, what's funny is that all of this is very basic RPG shit, kind of told in a like half fancy, half broken English way, because obviously this goes to like this version of King's Exit no longer exists because it's because of like machine translation. Let's see. Dreams. The NPC having dreams about. Oh, okay. So yeah. So I was right because I only never read it up to now. The MC was having dreams about wars, relearn techniques fighting with her long gone friends, and ways to live. Holy shit! So wait, no, everyone's like dead. What the fuck? Holy shit. Anyway, great RPG. Main story takes about 18 hours to finish. Prologue, 9 chapters. Final chapter, so about an 11. So we're probably going to have much shorter chapters than Demon Roots, which technically only has 6, but they're, like, huge. This is a story of together, depart, despair, and survive, which mainly is probably like, okay, so we're like, yeah. So what happened in the past is, like, in the past, but we're, like I said, we're probably going to be, like, skipping between... so yeah, we're gonna relive these moments, play them out, and so that's what that means. Achievements, there are achievements in every levels. Each time will be a whole experience, and then we got stuff like this. Yeah, we got the mature content rating. I don't know how this trailer managed to pass. I know you need to be like 18 plus to get into this page in the first place, but it's not like I still feel like it probably limits what you're able to show. Honestly, I might just cut the trailer and just leave the speculation in place. But okay, so that's all that stuff that we can pick up about the game. So yeah, it's probably going to be a prison break. We're probably definitely going to be going through and like scaling with, not scaling, but we're probably going to be going through the story, kind of fragmented. And okay, I might as well talk about the other part. So for those who have played Demon Roots and know the post game thing inside the mirror, there's a post game scenario called King's Exit meets Demon Roots, and what you're fighting in that situation is, yeah, you fight Gaia Louise, but you fight Gaia Louise and her party, but like the party you fight like is a party that like involves these two, for example. It's like these two, a mage, and Gaia Louise herself, who seems to be good at both magic and swordplay, which, you know, makes sense when you think about who her father is. So like, okay, yeah, we got that. We also saw like the savior, who, from what I understand, her name is like Gunai or Gunai, something like that. So yeah, so this is what's going to be happening, it seems. So like, whenever we're playing, so like whenever we're playing with like Sildra, I'm just gonna call her Sildra for now. And we're playing with the gay Louis, like that guy in the knight armor, the glasses fucker, and like when Gay Louise is dressed like this, it's the prison scenario. And when we're busting out these party members, it is the pass scenario. We probably switch through that. We probably play Gooey Nine, something like that too. So yeah, that's all there is to that. So yeah, that's just what I imagine is going to be going on. That's like all the speculation I had. So I mean, yeah, that makes sense. This is the party, like you fight this party in Demon Roots with your Demon Roots party, and they kind of do talk about certain like events as the fight goes on. I know like Sarasa talks to the mage. It's just like the mage is just like, oh, you're like the girl who lost her spirits, and it's like you're like the guy who like stole spirits, I think it was. So there's that. This guy here, who I'm pretty sure is like a healer. He's like a monk class, if I remember. Not monk. Like cleric class. Like he has a conversation with Angie. Something about like how like, oh, I wish we listened to you at the time or something like that. I was like, I'm gonna try my best. And then like this sword guy, like his line seems to be sort of a joke, but it's like matching swords with Najesta. And it's just like, damn, for a girl you're strong. And it's like, actually he's a man. It's like, oh, holy shit. So I don't know, like there's probably a bunch of like cute dialogue references that I have like yet to understand, but like yeah, so that's part of this. That's like the speculation. And now I want to talk about the very uncomfortable truth that I am absolutely a fucking fraud. Okay, not literally, but I do genuinely hate that this happened. There is one part that I got spoiled to that I kinda couldn't help but be spoiled to. So let's just get into it. So I was playing, the post game fights on my own. I was playing the post game fight. Oh yeah, I should also note that the Gaia Louise you fight, she has like a sword and a staff, I believe, but she also has like the black armor, this armor, which yeah. So this is probably going to be about her hero days for sure. And apparently, in that moment in the after story, it's like, oh, it's like, oh, I killed, like, hey, Death Polka, I killed fucking everyone. Like, Skithaz and Rianne. So we're probably going to be reliving that moment. But anyway, so I was playing it. And so obviously, when you look up the boss, you might look up the super boss. I decided to look up Gaia Louise by name. And I made a fucking mistake, and this is where I really emphasize, this is where the spoilers for King Exit are going to be going full force, because there's something I realized, and there's something I need to talk about. So, you look up Gaia Louise by name, and these are the first 4 fucking videos you get, and you get this guy named Gaia Louise. Wonder what that's about. I haven't read the descriptions for these, but you get the boss fight, which is what I was looking for. I was looking to see how you fight this boss fight. But then, you get this thing that says, goodbye Gaia Louise, which looks like it's a big spoiler, because we see, like, the blind girl crying. And we got this girl. I had no idea who the fuck she is until you look directly up, like directly between these 2 videos, a Gunai boss fight. And I feel like I was spoiled for something major. I can make my speculations about what it means that we have a Gunai boss fight. Since we're going between 2 stories, and I think Gunai looks like she's playable. There could be a lot of reasons for this. I'm not going to pretend I know. And I didn't read the descriptions. Maybe the descriptions give hints. But either way, yeah, it looks like there's a Gunai boss fight, and sadly I know about it, so I will not be shocked when the time comes around and we have to fight it. And that's the one I feel bad for. That's the one I feel like I there's probably ways I could have avoided that if I just looked up like Demon Root's secret fight. No, but even then there's a few mini bosses. There's like a few secret bosses. But yeah, that part when we get to it in the Let's Play, I'll definitely own up. I never watched any of those videos, by the way, but you kind of don't need to. Especially when one of them says goodbye, Gay Louise. So it looks like we're gonna have a death fake out at one point, or it looks like maybe she's the one who was trying to kill us. I don't know. It could be anything. It could be anything. And also, like, I feel bad for like Macho Akai, because that's definitely like a moment that probably should be hidden, where like, I get like some people might want to look for something by name, so they're looking for that exact boss fight, but like that feels like a big spoiler. That being said, I'm excited to see how we get there. There's like a few speculations I can make, but by the way, I won't make those speculations in the Let's Play. Hell no. I'll gladly spoil Demon Roots in the Let's Play, but I won't spoil that shit, because that feels like going a bridge too far. But yeah, nope. There's the end part. This is the whole. This is the whole King Exit speculate section. And here we are in the finale. Here we are in the whole finale of the whole, of the whole rambling section. And I want to thank everyone for joining me. I had a lot of fun doing this project. It's been one of my favorite projects to do. It really got me back into the Let's Playing spirit, and I'm looking forward to King Exit kind of continuing that. And even from there, even when we're done with those games, I still plan to be a Let's Player in full force. There's other things I might want to do also on my channel, like analysis, maybe video essay style things, maybe even some like videos, just more excuses to ramble like this one. Hell, even just now recording the King Exit speculation section, like that was fun. Getting into it, getting really into the deep, getting into the weeds, seeing what there is to see. But I'm definitely going to take it slow, one step at a time. Right now, I'm going to mainly stick to the Let's Plays. And so, yeah, you guys don't need to worry about that. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next adventure, and I hope you are all too. And I'm glad for all the support that's been given to this project. And I'm also glad that I was able to, I'm glad I'm able to entertain, because clearly I am. Even if it's a small audience, I don't mind. Because I like having, if I can even make one person's day better with these videos, I feel like I've succeeded. And obviously, I'd want to make as many people as happy as possible, but again, yeah, just I'm glad to have done all of this. So yeah, I think that's all there is to say. That's all there is to say. Next time we'll be taking care of King's Exit. But for now, Demon Roots, I can officially say, until I go back and do the proper guide version, is finally over. So, yeah. Thank you all for joining me on this adventure, and see you guys next time.